Hey guys, okay, today we are going to talk about how to combine like terms. Make sure you write down everything that you see on the screen and everything you see me write down. If you have a calculator on your phone or another calculator nearby, you may use that to work through the problems in this video and in the You Try section. So your objective for today, you will be able to combine like terms to solve equations. So like terms are just terms that have the same variable and to the same power. So as you can see here, we have 6 with the letter A next to it, and below that we have 35.6 with the letter A next to it. They're like terms because they both have A as the variable, and it's A to the first power. Now over here, we have negative 11xy and 20xy. They're like terms because they both have the variables xy, and it's to the first power. So whenever we combine like terms, we combine the coefficients. Remember, the coefficient is just the number that's in front of that letter. So here we have a negative 2x plus 5. So what I want to do is I just want to treat it like normal numbers. Negative 2 plus 5. And if you type that into your calculator, you will see that negative 2 plus 5 equals a positive 3. So that would be a positive 3x. Don't forget to put your variable back behind the number. Now, you can only combine like terms to each other. So, as you can see here, we have a negative 4x plus 8 minus 14x. So, the two numbers that are going to be like terms, that's going to be negative 4x and then this minus 14x. So we can combine these two, but we cannot combine 8 with those because 8 does not have an x behind it. It's not the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take negative 4x minus 14x. I want to make sure I keep the sign in front of the number. So if you put in your calculator negative 4 minus 14, you get negative 18, and that had an x behind it. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to add this on to the end. So we have negative 18x plus 8. We cannot combine that because they are not like terms. 8 does not have the x behind it. Here we have 12r plus 5 plus 3r minus 5. So here I can combine 12r plus 3r, remember keep the sign with that term, and I can combine this positive 5 and then I'm going to subtract 5 from that. So 12r plus 3r, 12 plus 3 is 15, so that would give us 15r. Now, this is adding 5, but we're going to treat it like a positive 5 since the plus sign's in front of it. So we have a positive 5 minus 5, which we know is 0. So we don't even have to write anything here because we know that just means 15r. Alright, so whenever we combine and solve equations, here are your steps. You want to identify the like terms and combine them just like we did before. And then use inverse operations to solve for the variable, and then we have to check the solution. So let's do an example together. We have 18x minus 30 minus 7x equals 25. So I'm going to identify my like terms. I have 18x, and then I have the 7x, and I'm going to keep that sign in front of it. So that means I have 18x minus 7x. 18 minus 7 is 11. 11x, and then I'm just going to take the minus 30 and bring that down, and that equals 25. So now I just have a two-step equation. So I need to use inverse operations to isolate x. So I'm going to add 30 to each side. That equals 0, so I'm just left with 11x. 25 plus 30 is 55. The inverse of multiplying by 11 would be to divide by 11. So I do that on both sides. And x equals 5. Now I need to check my work. So if x equals 5, that means if I plug this back in to this expression, or to this equation, then it should equal 25. So 18 times 5 minus 30 minus 7 times 5 should equal 25. So if you have a calculator, you can go ahead and use it. 18 times 5, that would be 90. So I have 90 minus 30 minus, and then 7 times 5 is 35. And 90 minus 30 minus 35 will equal 25. So we know that this checks out. All right, now we have 16 minus 10 minus 12m equals a negative 90. So I'm going to find my like terms. I have a 16 minus 10. So I'm going to go ahead and combine those. We know 16 minus 10 is just 6. And then I'm left with negative 12m. So I'm going to bring that down, keep the sign in front of it. And that's going to equal negative 90. Now I'm going to use inverse operations to solve. So since I have this 6 right here, I've got to subtract 6 from both sides. That becomes 0. I'm left with negative 12m. Negative 90 minus 6, if you put that in your calculator, is negative 96. The inverse of multiplying by a negative 12 would be to divide by negative 12. So I'm going to do that on both sides. And m equals a positive 8. Now I have to check. So if m equals a positive 8, if I plug in 8 for the letter m, we should get negative 90. So that's 16 minus 10 minus 12 times 8. So that's 16 minus 10 minus, and 12 times 8 is 96. Well, 16 minus 10 is 6, and 6 minus 96 equals a negative 90. So that checks out. All right, now we have 10 equals 6t minus 16 minus 4t. So I'm going to identify my like terms. That would be 6t, and then we've got the minus 4t. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the 10 equals. So 6 minus 4 is 2, so I'm left with 2t minus 16. Remember, keep that sign in front of the number. Now I'm going to use inverse operations to solve. So the inverse of subtracting 16 would be to add 16 to both sides. That becomes 0, and I'm only left with 2t. 10 plus 16 is 26. The inverse of multiplying by 2 would be to divide by 2. 26 divided by 2 is 13. So t equals 13. Now we're going to check. So if t equals 13, then if I plug 13 in for both of these t's, our answer should be 10. So that means 6 times 13 minus 16 minus 4 times 13 should equal 10. Well, 6 times 13 would be 78. So 78 minus 16, and then 4 times 13 is 52. So we have minus 52. And then in your calculator, you can just put that entire expression in, and you should see that it equals 10. So it does check out. All right, now it's time for you to try. Make sure you identify your like terms, combine them, use inverse operations to isolate the variable, and make sure that you go back and check your answers. Make sure you've written down everything that I wrote down, and make sure you've completed the U-Try so that you can get full credit on your notes. Have a great day, and I will see you next class day.